You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome. I am Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and you are watching USA Global TV. Our show today is Life's Amazing Journey. And joining me is my co-host, John Christian. He is the entertainment king. He is an actor, he's an author, and he is a celebrity performer and just a wonderful person. How are you, my friend?
I'm very good, thank you. You look very beautiful. I like the dress and the pearls. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. I never know what I'm going to wear because it's so dark in my closet. There's no light. I just go, oh, I hope I didn't wear this last week. So
I had the same
you're looking quite dapper yourself today. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. From sunny England. Hello to everybody from sunny England today.
And by the way, we have a comment already. Hello there, Devonshire. Nice to see you joining us on LinkedIn. Fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you for the comment.
So I'm always so excited when I see you because I know that you're going to be performing for us, and I just love your voice. But before we get to that, we've got a wonderful guest today. You've been actually quite busy filming, haven't you?
Yes, I have. Yes, I've been doing a corporate promotional job. That's what we were doing. We're in-house for a medical company.
And how did it go? Are you allowed to talk about it?
Yeah, it was really good fun. We have to play I was meant to be dying of cancer and having chemo. So of course that's a very serious role to have to play and to be in for some hours. And then in between, fortunately, the team were great and my co-actresses were wonderful. So we laughed a lot. So we'd be 1 minute I was dying and the next second we were doing no business like show business.
So I have a question for you. Obviously, you're as a professional, and I don't have any acting skills whatsoever, but how do you transform yourself emotionally and stay serious and not break down in any way when you have a role like that and everybody's watching you? Yeah,
well, it takes concentrated attention. It really does, and a lot of practice over the years, so literally from, the doctor saying to me, I'm terribly sorry, but the news is as we anticipated, and I have to go into this really serious mode of shock and really not knowing what to say. And she says to me, do you have any questions? And I say, well, I don't think so right now, thank you, because I'm just shocked.
Wow, I got chills when you just did that. That was really good.
And it was quite funny because the team all went really quiet, quieter than normal. And when we'd finished the scene, one of the guys said, "Oh, cool." He said, that was so moving. He said, we're all standing here choking back the tears. And he said, I was thinking, don't tell him. And he said, if you'd have been an animal, I'd be crying my eyes out right now.
Well, congratulations. What did it feel like to get back with actual people and be working with them?
It was absolutely wonderful. I'll tell you what was even more wonderful is because many of the companies are, requiring that you fill out so much paperwork against COVID and masks and the tests and everything. And this, I wasn't required to do any of that. And it was just like, pre-COVID. So it wasn't even mentioned. There was no masks. There was nothing, and everybody's fit, healthy, no problems. And we just had a great time. It was just so lovely to do, And as you say, just being with the real people. Oh my God, what a relief.
Not computer people. I know it's interesting. I have a doctor's appointment on Monday, and they sent a text message twice that I have to fill out, click on these links. It's all about COVID, fill out all this information. Nobody can come with me. I have to wear a mask. I have to stay in the parking lot until they contact me. Like, what?
Yeah, I know. Well, it's very interesting. As you know, I've just recently returned from Portugal and get messages from my friends there where all of the chemists and doctors have all signed this huge petition saying that the regulations being put into place are no longer needed and no longer necessary. So they're writing to the government to take them down. And that's also happening here too.
Interesting. Well, I think based on all that, we need a song. We need some cheering. What are you going to sing for us today?
Well, actually, this is a request by our guest, Victoria, and it's a song that was actually a #1 on your Billboard Hot 100 in 1974 by John Denver, and it's Sunshine on My Shoulders. Very apt for today and our weather.
Yes, it is. That's fantastic. All right, I'm going to spotlight you, and I'll be backstage. I can't wait.
Okay, guys. Here we go. Just setting up all the technical stuff. Being live here, we have to get this right. Oh, here's a live. This never happens normally when you're performing, but the track started in the wrong place. Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. If I had a day that I could give you, I'd give to you a day just like today. And if I had a song that I could sing for you, I'd sing a song to make you feel this way. Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. Sunshine almost all the time makes me high. Sunshine almost always. Sunshine, everybody.
I didn't want to come back. I wanted you to keep singing. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. How did you feel as you were singing it?
Oh, like you know, I mean, it's true for me. I'm also a Leo, you know, born in the middle of the summer. So the sun is for me wherever I go. And I've spent the last year chasing it, actually most of my life chasing it. And, you know, as a performer and a speaker and a coach, fortunately, many of my jobs are in the sunshine in really lovely places when we're allowed to be there.
Well, thank you for bringing sunshine into our lives and our hearts. So that's beautiful. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with our guest. So do you want to share a little bit, tease up a little bit of information about Victoria before we go to break?
See, Victoria is a long-term friend, and I have to say she's one of the most supportive friends I've ever had the blessing to have, not only to me, but to many, many people. And we'll tell you more about that after the break.
I can't wait to hear more. Okay, we'll be right back. Stay with us here on USA Global TV.
Okay.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Garden. Your host, Diane Boehm. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Diane Floyd Boehm tells wonderful stories that warm the heart, spark the imagination, and unite people and families across generations. For children, Diane's Harry the Camel connects with all of us who've ever wondered how different our lives might have been if only we'd been born something better, like a wonderful horse instead of an ordinary camel. In the end, we all learn along with Harry that there's nothing better than just being yourself. Diane's Little Girl in the Moon looks down on earthbound children and wonders if they know she's just like them. A story of love, home, and the bond between mother and daughter, its powerful theme that we're each of us different yet all of us the same plants a seed in children that promises to blossom within a loving and trusting grown-up. Diane's new biography, Rise, recounts the experiences of her grandmother, Ruby, to reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit. Ruby's story inspires all of us to become the best versions of ourselves. You'll find all of Diane's delightful books and much more at DianeFloydBoehm.com. Visit DianeFloydBoehm.com. That's DianeFloydBoehm.com.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back to USA Global TV, life's amazing journey with this handsome guy who sang Sunshine on My Shoulders. So beautiful. So our guest is backstage, Victoria Sheridan. She is a leading rejuvenation, lifestyle, and business coach. Shall we bring her on, John?
Yes, let's do that.
There
Welcome,
she
Victoria
is.
Sheridan.
Hi.
Hi, welcome. So nice to have you here.
It's lovely to be here. It's very exciting. Lovely to hear you, John, singing. Haven't heard you sing for a little while, so that's
Well,
lovely.
thanks for the request. It's lovely to sing for you.
Yeah, probably the first time to me.
I think I sang for you on Trek. We went to the Himalayas. You came on one of my treks to the Himalayas too.
I certainly did, but there were a few other people there.
There was actually.
I felt this was for me because it's my request. That's good.
This is true. It was your first request, personal one.
Yeah, it was very uplifting actually, because that's how I like to make people feel. You know, the way you felt and the way you were talking afterwards about how you capture that moment. I feel like that nearly every day because I walk in the sunshine, even if it's raining. I feel like it's sunshine. I love nature. Yeah. And I just think that's also a little piece of heaven that you mentioned. You know, John Denver captured a little piece of heaven there.
I was going to ask you, what made you, out of all the songs you could have chosen, why did you choose that one?
There's so many songs, aren't there, Jacalyn, that I think if you're pinned down, you can never choose. But I go with inspiration, and I was inspired. So I really, I thought, well, I spent my childhood, not my childhood, I'm not that. I spent my youth listening to John Denver, and he touched me, and I love to share that. Yeah. I miss him, actually. I do wonder what else he would have given us.
Yeah.
Yes, well, good selection and beautiful performance. So tell us a little more detail about how you guys actually met.
Well, me, I found John at an exhibition in London.
Yeah.
You'd been there a long time, hadn't you, John? You're one of the founder members of the
Mind, Body, Spirit Festivals, yeah.
Mind, Body, Spirit Festivals, yeah. And I think I just struck up a conversation, and next thing I know, I was hosting an event for him at my house with my friends.
Which he continues to do, I'm very blessed to be able to say.
Mm-hmm. And that was a long time ago, John. We were a lot younger then.
Oh, my God.
Yes, and of course, those exhibitions in those days weren't, they were popular, but they weren't mainstream at all. Whereas nowadays, people are far more open to different therapies and things. Yeah.
So what takes place at these events?
Well, back then, it was a plethora of different stands and stalls, but John was one of the compares, and he would organise people coming on, and he'd sing and talk and teach himself. So it was a platform, really. Yeah, it's really, really good.
It was a huge platform for many, many stall holders and performers and speakers. So everything was there, really.
Yeah, and it was of its kind. It was one of its own. There.
21 years it ran for.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Well, it's still going, but under different ownership nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's more mainstream. You get normal people there now.
Well, in the days, we have to be fair, it was kind of hippie, a lot of hippie type people.
Yeah.
But then over the years, it was fascinating to be a part of it, because I was part of it in Australia as well, and to watch the changes from the hippies to mainstream corporate world beginning to go, oh, just a minute, maybe this makes sense to us as well. and including it within the corporate thinking. And that's where we are today now. Yeah.
Well, science caught up, and then corporates caught on to the science. But I do think a lot of those founder members and the people that attended in the old days were very loving and kind. It was a beautiful atmosphere, absolutely fantastic atmosphere. And fond memories.
Indeed.
Ah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Victoria, I know our audience would love to hear about the work that you do with mature women. And also, if you could define what is a mature woman?
Okay, well, I'm older than this, but I work with women over 50. So these are people who are working, maybe in previous times they may have been stay-at-home mums, but majority of them are working, and they reach their sell-by date, really. They kind of get to a point where they're thinking of their retirement and what life holds in front of them. And most people who are in their 50s and 60s now have experience of the 70s, the 60s, and so life has changed completely in that time. And a lot of women in the UK were not prepared for early retirement pension-wise. And as a lot of them were stay-at-home mothers, family women who then also had careers, it's left them in a financial predicament. But more than that, that age group are going through menopause, coming out of menopause, and wondering, what now? You know, am I just going to care for my children, my grandchildren? Is there something more to my life? And maybe in the past, women didn't expect too much. My mother, and her peers didn't really expect too much because life was shorter. Life expectation is very long now. You know, we're expected to live, at least I'm expecting to live to 100. And so with interventions and different things that are happening, women are now thinking, okay, well, that's the first part of my life. Now what do I do with the second part of my life? And of course, I'm sure we could all relate to this, that we've been brought up to believe that older age groups are decrepit, full of illness, low mentality, the fear of Alzheimer's, heart problems, all these different medical conditions, lack of money and finance, not enough provision. So people's inner attitude to being older is quite negative. And so working with women as I do, it's to rejuvenate them so that they can do what I do, and that's have another teenage life. So I always say, I know it sounds strange, but I came across this term teenager. So it's a senior who's a teenager, and that's exactly how I feel. I realised that when I retired and I wondered what I was doing, I was thinking, well, I feel exactly as I did when I was a teenager. I was scared, but really willing to go forward, but not really knowing how that was going to turn out. But of course, when you're a teenager, you've got a life ahead of you and you have no experience, nothing really to be afraid of yet. And you sort of just flow into it. Whereas when you're coming to your 50s and 60s, you kind of like think, right, okay, oh, it's a bit daunting, and have I got the energy, and have I got the skills, and can I be anybody else than I've ever been, playing all these different roles? So that's my mission, is to make sure that women have the opportunity and the awareness to know that they can rejuvenate their body, their emotions, their minds, their lifestyles, and their financial security, and have an adventure, a life full of adventure. It's exciting, like a teenager. Just feel wonderful. So that's what I like to share with my clients, and I can say that it works.
That's why
I love. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, what inspires me about Victoria is she walks her talk, because she does so many things, and she's always there. I mean, really there for so many people too, which is unique quality, I find, amongst people. She even has 3 networking groups that she runs as well. So perhaps in a bit you'll tell us more about that. A great networker.
Yeah, thank you. Well, life is full. I do get tired, and of course, what happens with the older person anyway, but for women with menopausal situations and all the hormonal changes, it's quite difficult to balance with who you want to be and who your body tells you to be, and you have emotions that erupt. It's like being pregnant, you just cry for nothing. But I think for a lot of women, especially when they're working full time, it's that they need that cat nap, they need that power nap. And many women can't do it, and they have sleep problems. So I work with sleep with a lot of my clients, and it's that ability to then get up and rise and be really busy. And of course, you've had a lifetime of being busy, and everybody wants you to be busy still, but you really need to sleep. So women get trapped into the dichotomy, and then that's how I help them get out of that. And I do too. You know, to be honest, John, if I'm out putting myself out there physically, emotionally, with people in your face all the time, wanting and needing, and sometimes whether it's just on the laptop and you're on the internet doing that, it's quite exhausting. So yeah, time out is important.
Balance, all about balance.
Yeah, yeah, but you know I don't sleep very much, and there's nothing rude in that at all. John stayed over at my daughter's house.
Good job you added that.
Oh, I used to be naughty, but I won't be. But yeah, so there's lack of sleep is an issue for a lot of women that I work with.
Yes, and I think also lack of quality sleep. That even if you're lying there and you start to fall asleep, but then you wake up and you think of all these things, and maybe you're sweating or having menopausal issues. I don't know anything about any of them, but I'm just saying it happens.
No, me.
Well, the thing is that I started doing yoga when I was 14 in my bedroom from a book, and I've followed a spiritual path looking at the science and the religions and the different philosophies. I've just looked at everything all my life. I've been quite avaricious in my thirst for knowledge and understanding. And of course, when I met John, he's already had all this experience. He's been places that as a mother, you're never going to go. You're never going to take your children and check off and do stuff that John's done. So to learn from other people is really important. And what I found with John, obviously we met in common ground, is he reaffirmed for me as well that meditation is the key to everything. And then when you can meditate, when you have sleepless nights or you wake up, there's a decision to be made whether you want to sleep, and then you can put yourself into an altered state. And so the scientist in me needs to understand how the brain works and how the chemicals work and the different circadian cycles that the body goes through. So I need to understand all of that before I approach my clients with something which is religious or spiritual in nature. But meditation and relaxing the mind and the body is key to having a healthy and wealthy life, making good decisions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we both agree with you on that, for sure. Victoria, do you work with people from all over the world?
I do. Well, they tend to be English speaking. They may be in other countries. I have difficulty, obviously, with other languages, so they are English speaking. But I have clients in Canada, America, Australia, and Europe. And it's fun. I just love this wonderful world that we live in. With all the negativity around, I just think, wow, I'm sitting here talking to you. John's singing to me down this little box. Where's my mind gone from the 70s? When I was looking at this box in the corner that everybody was fighting over and getting up and turning off and on, to here and now when Richard Branson's going up into space, and I'm thinking, yes, I'll be there with you one day. So it's life is absolutely amazing, but to get other people to understand that is a slow process. And so the coaching I do, I often feel I just touch the tip of the iceberg, and then some people will come back and work with me again because I'm opening doors for people. John says I'm supportive, but I'm driven to share and open doors for people. It's kind of like my life is just all about that. I can't stop. I often think about stopping everything, and then I think, well, no, if somebody did something else, or they did this, or if I gave them that book, so I can't stop.
Well, just by coming to your Biz Buzz network groups, I see how many people you put me in front of, and how many people you're in front of, constantly dealing with all those people. And you're a mother of 2 and a grandmother of 3, if I may mention that.
3, yeah.
And you do all of that. So apart from the meditation and those skills that you've learned, what would you say is a personal key that really works for you, that you would offer your clients?
Experience, really, having come through pain and heartache and bereavement. My fiance died when I was 24, and before that I had a very violent relationship with somebody else. So it was kind of like I came from a very loving, nurturing family, and suddenly thought life was just going to open up for me, and it all changed, and it was quite dark for many years. And so coming from that, there's this will to survive, and there's a will to find out why. And the question why is what drives man, I think, mankind, humanity. And it's a fruitless question because you never get an answer. There's too many more questions.
Yeah.
It's what I give to my clients, I think, is love, whether they recognize it or not. Because what I came to understand was that especially when my partner died, when we were just about to get married, buy a house and everything, and it was all taken away, and he was so young, and it was kind of like, well, where does this take me? What is life and death about? It became very crucial at that time, and the answer is love. And somebody did say to me a long time ago that it's a law of vibrational energy, and I think love is the only thing, and of course love of self. So there's a lot of self-harm when you've been through trauma, and there's guilt and blame and all these angers that you can externalize or internalize. And so when there is love, there can't be any of that. So if you can be in a state of love, which comes through compassion and understanding and meditation, singing, joy. I love singing in the car. My grandchildren are just over here. One of the songs I sing is an old hymn that I've changed the words to, and it's kind of like really archaic little hymn, and I've changed all the words to, there's joy in my heart and things like that, and the kids sing along because it's just so loving and joyful. So when you've got that, you cannot be concerned about anything else. That's my philosophy.
Yeah, that's great. And it's all about changing the way we think at the end of the day, isn't it? Because it's like, with the many hours that I've done, as you know, in coaching and teaching, the bottom line is you can't even begin to feel the energy of self-love and self-respect if you don't like your own thinking, if you don't like your own belief systems, and if you don't like your own behavior. So it's obvious. What do? Change it.
One of the things that happened to me was when my fiance died, I had a premonition that he was going to die, funny enough, and my mother was quite distraught about that because she said, "You told us he was going to die." I said, "I know." But one of the things was I thought to myself, well, I'm not making any major decisions in a year, because I think I'm mad now. I think I've lost my marbles. I think I'm in a complete state that's not going to be making good decisions. So I decided to wait a year. And one of the things I had to do was take my daughter, I had a 2-year-old daughter at the time, I had to take her to nursery, and it was a long walk back, and then I would go back and get her and go back. And every time I walked her to and fro, I made a pact that I would change my thinking. I would watch my negative thoughts and self-pity and all these things, and I would just change them. So I was 24 at that time, and I'd already experienced a lot of meditation and different euphoric states and different things. But I knew that my mind, the thinking mind that we all live with, that internal chatter, and I know you talk about that quite a lot, John, that internal chatter is what destroys us. And negative thinking actually can kill, because you can walk in front of a car, or you can say a nasty thing to someone who then punches you, and you don't know what your thoughts are going to do. And I changed myself by doing that. And then after a year, I released myself from my pact, and I started living again. But I was a changed person, and it was because I deliberately decided to take negative thoughts, to watch them, to change them, and to feel love and gratitude for what I'd had and not what I'd lost.
Yeah, well done. I think it's important to mention too that you were actually a teacher in university, helping both teachers and professors and students to improve their self-esteem and their performance skills.
Yeah, well, I was going to mention that a little while ago as well, because that's where I got my courage with large numbers of people. I know you started off burning to go into sort of entertainment, but I'm quite a shy person, and I had to learn. So I'd read self-help books for a long time, but I decided, this is the only life I've got, and so I've got to be brave, and step after step after step of forcing myself to go into my uncomfortable zones. I can remember the first time I spoke in public, it was a WI, Women's Institute meeting, and I booked myself up to talk about a subject that I hardly knew to about 80 people. It was awful. I ran away, did my job, ran away. I said I'm never doing that again. But of course I did. And I've always learned by jumping into the deep end. And the same with teaching. I started off teaching a few students with adults with learning difficulties at adult education in the evenings. But then I got a job in a college where I was working with students, young people, sort of 17 to 18 or 16 to 18 with difficulties and physical and cognitive disabilities. And and then I went into proper teaching with a room of 30 people, and they're all adults, 17 plus. And you know what teenagers are like. So it was, yes, definitely growth by fire, but I can't remember what the saying is, but I definitely threw myself in there. And that's what you saw, John. By the time it came to managing a group of people, I mean, when I was young, probably when I first met you, I would never have ever dreamed that I would be managing a room full of people. I would have had the courage. But that's what I tell my clients. This is the whole point. We are brave. All of us are brave.
Yeah.
But we have to have the motivation and the understanding to drive us forward to do it. You have to have something in you or some goal to go towards.
Yeah.
And women in particular are timid. I know you might meet some feisty ones in the world, but that's often bravado. It's not always true, is it? And but women on the whole are the carers and the givers and the protectors, and they tend to lose themselves, and therefore not as they get older, they don't have the courage to start a business or to get a new job. In fact, that's one of the things that I found difficult was when I was handing my notice. I turned 60 and I decided I was resigning from teaching in universities. Whatever happened, I was going to resign. But according to the government, I've got another 6 years before I could get any pension. So I needed to work. And I went to a couple of interviews and I could not sell myself. I didn't have the energy, the motivation, or the confidence to resell myself when I hadn't been for an interview for 15 years. And I felt old and grey, tired, and they wanted all these young people. So I wasn't going to get the jobs anyway. So there's a problem there that women have, not just with work, but with partnerships, with relationships.
Yeah.
If they're bereaved or they're divorcing late in life, they don't always have the courage to go out and find a meaningful relationship. They can go on dating apps and have a scary time for a little while. But they're not, well, fun or scary, whichever way you want to put it. But they're not going to find a meaningful relationship unless they are really ready for it. So it's a big job I'm doing.
For sure.
I think we've all discovered that it's those first steps of jumping into the unknown of any new experience that are the scary bit. And unfortunately, most of us stop at that point because the mind is so creatively imaginative of the terrible things that could happen. So we don't go through that. So like you, with that scary first experience, when I first took the stage, I was so nervous. My mouth completely dried. My lip got stuck up there. I was shaking like this. I couldn't remember the words to the song, and I couldn't even stay in tune with the band. And I wished that a big hole would open up, and just like you. And I did that for like 17 years, again and again and again. So just like you, our lives are a proof of you have to go through that. You have to learn to breathe properly, learn how to manage those moments, and learn how to come through the other side. And there's just so much to gain from yourself.
Yes, and also coming back to business, one of the ways that women can secure their financial security is to either have other income streams or to go back to a job or something they love. And a friend of mine recently, she's a solicitor, she's just left her company and started her own, because you can manage your own diary. And as you get older, coming back to the sleep problems and the energy issues, you need to manage your own diary, but you need to be able to summon enough money to live on. So it needs to be under your control. And there are certain kinds of businesses that you can start and learn skills. So some people have to learn more skills, but there's something for everybody. Everybody can have more than one income stream if they look into it and aren't too scared. And so that's another reason why I focus on the finance for women, because it's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Abraham Maslow, if you haven't got food and shelter, you can't start painting and creating things. You can't grow in your confidence unless you belong to a community, unless you feel loved. You haven't got the self-esteem to put yourself at risk, things like that. So that's one of the another important reason why I'm a business coach, because I very gently help women to find a business or some form of income that suits them.
Victoria, I have a question for you. A lot of the things that you're talking about, lack of sleep or menopause or changing careers or finding other income streams can lead to a lot of stress for people. And if people don't manage that stress, what have you found about how it helps or detracts from the aging process?
Well, there's two things. I start with the stress, because most people will come to me with a stress point, whether they're male or female. But obviously, when they're coming to me for rejuvenation, stress also damages your body and the cellular structure and everything. All the illnesses that we have come from stress of some kind, or the inflammatory illnesses like arthritis, etc. So to deal with stress is really important. So I've got skills and techniques that I share with people, and the women love them because that's what they really, really want. And then to manage the sleep. And then when you've got the basics in place and there's resilience, there's skills and resilience built up, then they can manage stress as it comes along. Then they can make good decisions, and then they can start moving their life forward emotionally and physically, getting the weight off or being more active, getting the partner they want, getting the money they want, the income they want. But the stress factor has to be dealt with first. So that's where we start from. And then the visualization side of that, the mindfulness side, helps them to start imagining a future and realizing that there is a wonderful future they can create for themselves. So I'm not indoctrinating them with any kind of religion or philosophy, because people come to me with all different kinds of religious philosophical approaches to life. But these are based in science. And when I explain the science to them, and that they can share them with their children who are doing exams or taking driving lessons or undergoing a treatment, and an intervention in a hospital or something, it's where I start from. And when I've taught someone to breathe, just like John, when you teach someone to breathe and to manage themselves, then they can move forward. But of course, coming back to your other point, is that when you've got cellular health, because you're breathing and relaxing and your body is in harmony and you're in a good condition, your body wants to go to its normal state and it'll start replenishing itself, because everything in the body replenishes itself anyway. You get a new skeleton every 7 years. So arthritis should not exist. It's the memory that creates the consistent nature of the disease, etc. So I go as deep as the client needs to go. Some people just don't want to go there. They don't want that. But they will still have the results of looking better, having better health and skin and hair, and having more vitality. And then quality of life comes from that. I hope that answers that question a little bit.
Very good. Very good.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was great. Thank you. Thank you. Well, we are actually at the end of our show, believe it or not. It has just flown by. And Victoria, we have been streaming your information across the bottom of the screen. But for people who are listening on the radio, what's the best way to get in touch with you, and who should reach out to you?
Lovely. Well, if you're a woman over 50, and you can be up to 70 and older, because I still work with older women, we can still move life forward. It doesn't stop. Let's get together on Victoria Sheridan. Sorry, it's at the bottom, isn't it? VictoriaSheridanCoach.com, and you can contact me at Victoria at. And come and say hello. Just send me a message, or you'll find me on Facebook under Victoria Sheridan Coach. And The Secret Calm is another page that I've got, which is about meditation techniques and relaxation techniques. So yes, if you're a woman who's having any of the issues or have any questions, even if you've just got a question or you're thinking of someone who could benefit from speaking with me, then I can go through what I offer and we can find out if it's a good fit. But I'm happy to help. As John says, I can't say no to someone. I can't leave you. So if you have something serious that you just want to run past me, I can send you somewhere else, refer you to someone else, or I can work with you and we'll see how it goes. So if you want to make a difference to your life and to be rejuvenated, to be a teenager like me, and you want to come on board, then just contact me at the web address below.
Thank you so much.
Victoria, I have to ask on behalf of the male audience here,
yes,
does
darling.
that apply to men too?
I do work with men when they arrive, but I find you're not going to like this very much, John, but you might have just already. I'm a little bit of a feminist. The reason for that is that even at school, I would always go for the underdog. I would always help the underdog, the person who was being bullied. And because I was in a violent relationship myself, and I saw, back in the 70s, we didn't have all the rights and all the gifts. I couldn't even get a mortgage. And if you got divorced, you had to sort of like adopt your own child from your husband and things like that. So coming from that, I've always looked at women and seen how precious we are, how immensely powerful we are, and yet how squashed we've been. And I feel that I'm here at this time to help emerging womanhood. So it's not that I'm against men, because I love you dearly, I really do. And men did come. I've got some very, very good clients who are men who go through the same process without the menopause, or they have menopausal wives.
It's our feminine sides that do it.
Otherwise, how much they are, actually. But yes, so I'm not sexist, but I am here to help women to emerge. Because I think the world can be more balanced, and the world is obviously changing. Look how it's changing.
Absolutely agree with you.
No, it's wonderful. No, it's wonderful, these changes.
Yeah, look, I'm outnumbered on here. I agree. I really agree with you.
You do agree, you don't you?
I do truly agree.
I think it's wonderful, the beautiful friendship that you guys have too. I really admire that.
Well, I hope we're friends now, Jacalyn. It's really lovely to meet you, and for welcoming your show. It's lovely.
Well, I know there's so much more that we can learn from you, so I hope you'll come back on this show or one of our other shows, because we're just tapping the surface, really, of all the wonderful things that you do.
Yes, I know. It's terrible, isn't it? Thank you so much, though. I can feel the weight of everything I do.
Well,
thank you.
Thanks, Victoria.
Thank you.
Love to the family, Victoria. And the dog.
Yes, the dog. Take the dog for a walk in the sunshine on my shoulder.
Enjoy your weekend.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Well, she's quite lovely.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh, so nice. You have really good friends, and I'm glad that you bring them to our show.
Really, I'm so blessed. I truly am. Quality people.
Well, that's because you're a quality man.
Oh, thank you.
So, John, we do have some images here about the work that you do. Can you share some more about what we're looking at here?
Sure. So this is my free ebook on how to develop intuitive intelligence, and I think that's something that we really need to pay a lot of attention to nowadays, because just the normal left-right brain activity is not sufficient to get us through many of the things that we're dealing with. So there's a fabulous quote by Einstein, it's my favorite quote, and he said, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift." So that's why I put so much attention on helping people to develop and trust that intuitive voice behind all the other voices. So important.
Yes, it is. I agree. How about this?
And I contributed this book along with 11 other writers and storytellers. Yeah, and this is available on Amazon. Life Shift Stories. It's about the moments when our lives will turn around.
And more?
And this is my online training program, which I'm thoroughly enjoying doing with people from around the world. So if anybody's interested, it's Skills for Life Balance. And it's a combination of the things that I've learned that really have worked for me and worked for my clients. And that's a balance between understanding our spiritual nature, intuitive spiritual nature, and also how to be in the marketplace and to use all of your skills to the best of your ability. So if you'd like to know more about that, you can get in touch with me, John at Life Balance Portal, website www.lifebalanceportal.com, and also on the website you can find my CDs too. So it's a bit better than singing through a laptop.
Thank you so much, John. And I'm looking forward to catching up with you. I know you have some plans for the weekend. I hope everything goes well. And I hope the sunshine stays on your shoulders, as I know it will.
It sure does, even when it's not out. It's only behind that cloud. Always remember that. You know, when those negative thought comes in, the light's always just behind them.
And put that fear to the side and make fear your friend, right? And work through the fear.
Yeah, that's the key. Yeah, we should talk a lot more about that one day. The difference between love and fear as energies.
All right, let's do that.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Thank you again for being here, John.
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. See you next Friday.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. We really appreciate you being here as we continue to grow our network and audience. Our next show is coming up. It is A Better You, our 83rd episode. And this week, our guest expert presenter is Daphne DeLucci. So stay tuned. We'll be back shortly. I think we'll be back in about half an hour, and we'll look forward to seeing you then. Until then, I'm going to leave us with a beautiful music video from the debutantes, another sunshine moment for us to share. It's Victoria and Lavinia, the debutantes, and you can see them over on Instagram. So take a look.